All right, so we're going to jump straight into small press reading number 3. In the interest of time, we will forego any bios. The bios are available on the website, nolapoetry.com. So we'll dive right in. First up, Kristen Renee Miller.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen. If there's anyone here who has not yet gotten a piece of cake from me, I'm the one handing out cake at the Saraband table at the back of the festival. I'm the director and editor-in-chief at Saraband Books, an independent publisher celebrating 30 years of publishing this year. Thank you. Yes. Really excited to be here in New Orleans celebrating our birthday with all of you. Thank you to the festival. Thank you to the organizers for bringing me in. I'm going to jump right in. Yes, I have the honor of translating the poet Andrea Jurjević. She's the acclaimed poet of 3 books of poetry, acclaimed author of 3 books of poetry, and a member of the Innu Nation, whose traditional territory stretches across the Canadian provinces of Quebec and Labrador. I've translated 2 books of her poetry. You can find both of them at the Sublimity City table. Sublimity City is my awesome poets group from Louisville, Kentucky. Most of them are here. Some of them are here in the audience. They had a great reading earlier today. The poem that I'm going to read, though, is an experimental translation, and it draws inspiration from a poem in Marie's second book, Spawn. If you've translated poetry or studied translation, you know that a finished poem in translation is really just a fragment of the exchange that's taken place between languages. So I made this poem in order to unpack the process of translating just 3 lines of one of Marie's poems. And what I hope it shows is the richness of possibility in her work and the sort of limitless unfolding that can take place in a translation. You all can't see the poem I'm about to read. A lot of my poetry contains visual elements, and so it makes it a little unusual for a reading because you can't see what I'm seeing. So I'll just describe to you that the format of this poem is a footnote form. It opens with the lines in French, and then the following stanzas are footnotes from each line. And you can see it up at the Nation. So this is Nous nous baignons, Variations, an experimental translation of Andrea Jurjević. Nous nous baignons dans le mal des vivres de l'asphalte chaude, en attendant de trouver la parole habitable ou de gagner quelque chose au grotto. We skinny dip in mal de vivre. We shed our skins and plunge in nude. The waters close above our heads. We stew, we wallow deep in dread. We submerge in gall. We all but founder. We fall malade. We wade into the noxious bloom of a newly paved lot. We bathe in fresh tar. Asphalt our mer. We peer out where it meets the sky. We shade our eyes and scan for safe location, safe locution, unbroken word. We hold out for a language like landfall. We hold out for a windfall, a scratch-off win. We tread pavement like water, awaiting la parole habitable, a language to shelter within. I'm just going to read 3 poems today. We've got 5 readers, so I'm going to keep it moving. And I also have I know everybody's favorite is long explanations before each poem that's longer than the poem itself, so all of you are in for a huge treat if you like that. Like most serious poets, I dream of one day being published in the Taco Bell Quarterly.
Yeah.
And my plan for getting in is I invented a new poetic form in honor of the magazine, sort of. It's a taco spin on Georges Perec's form, The Belle Absente. Do you see where this is going? The Belle Absente is a poem composed only of letters not present in its own title. In my take on the form, the titles are all anagrams of Taco Bell menu items. And as many of you have probably already guessed, the form is called the Taco Bell Absente. In this case, an anagram of the discontinued menu item, the waffle taco. So this is Au Facet Flaw, a Taco Bell Absente. By singing, by scrying, by smudging virid bruises up your skin, by sipping your pink shrub syrup, squid ink, and gin, you're birding. By springing, by sunning, by pruning back your mums and ivy sprigs, by push-pinning Dusky's fingers and your grids, by budding, by brimming, by rhyming murmur and ewer and myrrh, you're birding. By humming, by hymning, by rhyming kingbird and dunbird and skunkbird and sunbird and shriving sundry bird and usurping kudzu bird and skirmishing shivbird and murmuring nimbus bird and ruby bib kissing nix bird and uninspiring insipid midbird and juking ibis and gyring ibis and sky riding shining ibis and inky shin squibbing ibis and unsurviving ibis. By hushing, by hiding, by bidding your surviving birds goodbye, by upping your bid. Goodbye, unhurrying ruined bird. Goodbye, vivid hijinks. You're birding, you're birding. You're birding by diving, by dying, by divining. Maybe I'll write another Taco Bell Absente one day. I want to close with a brand new poem. At the end of last year, I was at a writing residency in Florida, and something I always forget about being next to the ocean is that you can hear it all the time. And the rhythm of it is so relentless and hypnotic. So after my last visit near the ocean, I wrote this poem that has some of that momentum in it, I hope. It's a poem about Florida and AI and the long memory of the internet. So this is, fear not, for your names are written in the eternal scroll. When the news breaks, you're somewhere in the Keys, limbs arranged for humidity, sun drunk and vibing on Ritalin, the scorched rustle of parlor palms, anxious flicker of skinks, and the restless screen refresh of sea on shore. And you hear a voice saying unto you, fear not, for your names are written in the eternal scroll, and the names of and your children's names are written in the scroll, and the names of your childhood pets and your mother's maiden name alike are written, and your metadata, and your banking information, and your search history and deleted tweets and DNA ancestry results, and all your misdeeds and great works of literature, and likewise your shit works, and your derivative and inoffensive and insipid works. And here is a search engine to check if your works personally are written in the scroll, which of course they are. Haven't you been listening? All your works are written, and the memes you posted on Alt, and the memes you posted on Main, for all your names are written. And your children's children's children shall one day in the lavender haze of some far-off midwinter morning rise up from the crawl space bunkers of their pre-war shotgun homes, and they shall know you. And they shall spread wide their sun-oiled articulated limbs and call you blessed. Thank you.
Oh, looks like I'm gonna change mics here. This one's about to die. A fresh mic for the next poet. Is Ted Dodson in the house? Where you at, Ted? Come on up. You're up.
Thank you so much. I actually don't even know your name.
I'm Sean.
I'm Sean. Hi, Sean. I'm Ted. And thank you to the New Orleans Poetry Festival for inviting me here. It's very nice. A book that came out in 2021. It's called An Orange. This is probably the last time I read from this book. I have a new manuscript that's almost done, but the work is a little too long to read, I feel like. So I'm going to read just a few poems from this, which I actually also have for sale, $15. It's on discount, and it goes direct to me being able to buy dinner tonight. So please feel free to pick one up. To speak gently with you makes the whole world again accessible for a moment. The spine straightens and shoes settle evenly on the surface, counting back up from 0 to 10. Health's unlifted veil doesn't conceal what's horrible or loathsome, not amplifying what's beautiful or even insignificant to notoriety. We're occasioned with clarity, more like generosity, like closeness. Like we've hopped to the bottom of a well to gather water where it's coolest, directly from the source, only to look back up where we thought was this deep perforation in the earth and see we're still standing in the open and vibrant field of the world at hand. This is true recognition, where the thrill of words is felt when they emerge without pulling them from within and are offered from the world to the world. We are left with a memorial space, memorial to this thinking space errant ideas once occupied. The dispassionate air in which small cumulative judgments were made about people and things, like what I think about you. I remember this summer. It was more of a feeling than a vision. An ombre rope knotted with a variety of connections. What was just enough something to be even more nothing? There's peace and reconciliation, I hope. I keep hearing that Skeeter Davis song. It's the only one I know. The end of the world. It would be somewhat ominous, another forecast for our increasingly lubricated suck into finality, but it's a song of the immediate aftermath of heartbreak, of lost love and hopelessness, true tragedy that doesn't change or waver for 2.5 minutes. There's nothing more perfect than a song that doesn't change its mind. Romeo and Juliet are dead when the play begins. Star-crossed lovers in their life. And we watch anyway, knowing no matter what illusions or other simple delights can be drawn from this work, the future is transmitted in a crystal of the present, and we are its engaged monitors, disclosing more of itself to itself. There was no sudden death, no startling violence to apprehend like Fulci's promise of a lathe through the eye. We see it coming. It's like generosity, like closeness. And however struck one can be in the mirrored room of eternal transfigurations, it's, as Reverdy writes, the same and single voice persisting in my ear. It's 4:20 for whoever else observes. So this book got high a lot, so I'll read a poem, a kind of a soda poem. I love that song that everyone loves, Leonard Cohen's Suzanne. I too want to be fed tea and oranges and have my perfect body touched by a perfect mind. Perfect being what is only your own, only ours, and willing to be shared until there's nothing remaining. Then what are we left with? Fleeting thought. The failed resuscitation of a word I can no longer recall that occurred to me riding stone for a cheeseburger. A butt-dialed kiss goodnight. A free day of Wi-Fi poolside at the Standard with Mashinka, Danny, and Aaron, smoking Marlboros and co-working. A video I took of passing palm trees at night from the back of a convertible, which felt lame and was also beautiful. The bus to lunch with Joseph and Tom, and I eat it, riding a scooter home. Whole grilled fish with Soph and Natasha, and I'm so high I order too much beer, then go bowling and space out when it's my turn to roll frame. A performance thing, then a dance thing Amber and I attend. Maya Daren's house in West Hollywood. I never visit because I told Karina I wouldn't go without her. A Bazian Otter show in Fairfax I go to alone, watch him eat it, riding his bike into a Dutch canal. Then an Ethiopian restaurant I didn't know was a date hotspot for couples who hand feed each other. Some enjoying, others wan, while I sample a perfect peppered split lentil dish with my own perfect fingers. I walk up the street from where I'm staying to Trader Joe's, and I pass the parking lot made famous by Joni Mitchell, the former site of the Garden of Allah, the H added to the end when the estate converted to a hotel under new ownership. Originally named for Alla Nazimova, star and auteur of so many lost films, her sprawling complex of bungalows home to a burgeoning queer nightlife she galvanized in the Hollywood 20s. Breakfast with Elaine and Robert, and the guy who did the motion capture for Gollum is a couple tables away not talking to his girlfriend. The bus west on Santa Monica takes me to the pier, and I buy a new beach towel with an image of the sunset and California written day glow. The bare facts are strange. An orange, the color of sky, spirited apart from matter's cool reality, running parallel to Venice Beach where the horizon turns against us. Peel an orange. And it's more orange. Blue is the language the sky speaks. The human spirit is quiet and defeated in strokes both slight and broad, but opposition always finds a surface to lay its instruments on. A resigned transition of power, cued in time with dinner. Later, there's a moment to enjoy the benefits of our situation, but who am I really talking about? A gasp of brightness with the realization there had been someone there all along, dragging their feet and kicking up more dust. Synonyms undress as opposites, then a few letters are peeled back and there's just more language underneath. An element is seen as fruitful. Light reforms to sparks, no longer thrumming with nature's routine, but data-driven and wanting the glimmer of an answer instead. So, we took on more work than we expected. The hours were billable, though embarrassing when I look back at it. I'm month to month now wondering if I'll soon burn out. This group text I'm on wakes me before sunrise. Mere curiosity topples whole empires of thought. Helpless in the waves of consciousness heaped upon myself, I've come to find, however, under the morning is only more morning. Funny how important a subject becomes when it's the one possible outcome pulled out of context. Like, there's an ethics of leaving well enough alone, as there is an ethics of breaching a limit. Though it is possible to overextend one's comprehension through sheer force of enthusiasm and miss the point entirely, unable to apprehend the thing itself until it's out of reach, sent skyward with the rest of our words for the common generosity uncovered before the morning takes its first breath to say criticism has a natural antipathy with biography, as if a life of the mind were a post of unassailable neutrality. It didn't say that. was only morning then. They would go on to say nothing. And even that was only morning. So it said, peel an orange. And it's the language the sky speaks.
Thank you, Ted. It's a spectacular way to meet each other on stage like this. I dig it. Andrea Jurjević. All right, come on up.
Are we doing 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you too. I'm reading from In Another Country, which came out from Saturnalia Press last month. And I'm going to start with a poem that the book opens with. It's titled Gnostic Movements. Gnostic movements is when the flowers and plants open up when the sun is out, or light is out, and then they close down. Gnostic movements. Sweetness. Back home, the Adriatic tightens around the shore like a snake around a hot rock. In each house on the island, there's a table. On every table, a loaf, round as a Slavic face. Ashes in the oven. Ashes on the domes of the bread. Ashes on the roof of one's mouth. Last year, my cousin offed himself in his home. Our family, scattered around the world, got caught in a phone web. Catching up with each other, we forgot his body. But things were funny. Phone in hand, someone picked her nose and pulled out a bloody fingernail. Another drew a tough, tar-black hair from between her teeth, a pubic curl, and wondered whose it was. Listen. In Sarajevo, the fit ones ran through the sniper alley. The rest took up dying. Longing is a trick, baby. Go inside a rock, a ringtone, the red coal of my tongue, and you'll only taste yourself. Babe, keep the curtains parted. See the moon tossing her long white hair across the ocean. Here it's steady, back-arcing roar. Look at the chenilled strip of black sand, that fool walking with a flashlight. Listen to the ocean, and you'll come apart like a love letter in rain. Sweetness, even dandelions lose their heads at night. The following poem was inspired by having basic candy in life, for lack of a better understanding. I grew up in Croatia, back then was Yugoslavia, and at one point when I was in elementary school, really like first, second grade, I realized that classmates whose dads worked as gastarbeiters, guest workers in Germany, I didn't have really a concept then. It was like really little. Like when you become aware that you're a little bit more poor than the kid next to you, and you realize that by noticing that they have better candy than you, like, which meant colorful and scented candy. Basically, we had basic chewing gums that were just white, but we figured out quickly how to make our candy appear fancy, which was basically, especially with chewing gums, taking coloring pencils and biting their tips off into our basic candy and just chewing them into just this colorful thing. So I wanted to capture that a little bit. In the color grinding gears. In the pre-war and in the post-war, we made colors, usually in the school bathroom between classes, a swarm of girls crowding graffiti-covered walls. Some of us entered the narrow stalls in pairs, one pulling jeans down to her knees, her shirt a wrinkled valance over her snatch, babbling as she eased herself off, the thin piss streaming down the porcelain bowl, while the other, cigarette between her lips, added to the wall art. Don't pour confidence into me, I'll drown. Others by the sink bit waxy tips of off-colored pencils, crushed them into the pale stick of chewing gum, torturing it into something bright, explosive, reckless. Between teeth, the meat red pigment in the flesh of the gum blossomed into a striped carnation. A green nib bust into a spiky horse chestnut. Meanwhile, our mothers picked stones out of green coffee beans, dyed our clothing in soup pots. In those years, we had a case of color madness, busied ourselves concealing our featherless void until everything was disco fresh. All was sunny forsythia, foxy foxgloves, the provocative purple of sage, lilac, blue lilac. God, lilac so blue is the one color I still notice, mouth still watering. Black daisies. We are inside the barrel of a heat wave, this abstinent American and I. The earth, the sky, the strange Nevada sun blazing in between. The tattooed river courses up his pale forearm, and the mustached koi threads upstream, the fish rendered separate from its world. Across the table, hopeless Jack slings ice cubes down the canyon of his mouth, crushes them with a metallic tang, and says, "I've been sober for over a decade and I still can't sit still." The roof vent exhales a steamy breath. The sun glares out through the ground. I've spent my life in badly lit rooms, and the only thing this brightness reminds me of is my cousin, kneeling in the wooden confessional in front of the delirious light of God pouring in through the latticed partition, and him letting out a loud, wet fart. It's sitting in light we can't do. The heat is just a bitter oleander desert thrift, a clod of dirt you're starting to feel like, and there is nothing you can do about it but wish for a spit of rain. Though now I want a narrow vase with black daisies before me. Not a lush flower bed or a shadowy bank pearled with dew, just a spray of black daisies curving like script over uncomplaining earth, or crotch hair shy curling into its own heat, little wicks drawing fuel to the flame. I want a wet, light-absorbing language, a crawling, heat-converted argot, and I want to drink it like liquor. Kind of losing track of time. How much?
2 more minutes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to indulge myself. It's really cool to be reading here family history. My great-grandfather was the only one who went to ever visit the United States, and he was, with a handful of other men, worked on the Gulf Coast, some kind of leasing labor. They returned back home, and the fishing village where they lived and where their house is was built with Gulf Coast money. It's really hard to find any records, but anyway, this poem came from that story. It's titled America. America. I knew you long before I first crossed your borders. My great-grandfather Nicola fished your Gulf Coast. I forget who my people were subjects to back then. Italy, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Nicola raked the seafloor for shellfish, built boats, some such sea labor, then returned to his home shore and built a stone-walled home with the Gulf money. 120 years later, we still live in that house. My mother knew you too, when you arrived to Yugoslavia with UNRRA packages, Truman's eggs and orange cheese. We still dig free trash, tacky TV and synthetic bras, and smoke detectors we switch off before we light up. America, I'm feeling grumpy. What a shame someone insinuated I'm not a refugee. Oh, America, you slick arrow, how honored we are to be created in your image. America, All winds move to a literal tune. I too like to be a subject only to the surly governance of the sea. Thank you.
Next up, we have Laura Mattingly.
Okay, so I'm going to read a few poems from something that I've been working on for about 3 years now. It's called Removal Line, and it's about my family's diaspora after the genocide of Lithuania by the Soviets. It's also about physical and emotional repercussions of genocide that can exist in families for up to 10 generations. Okay. Brawl at the bar, reminding me of the brawl without eyebrows. I lunged into the center of the dust devil as usual, before remembering I was without armor. No immune system, no skin on my chest, diluting the magnificence of unmitigated, grown male aggression, stunning in its own right, a purely wild thing, like a condor spreading its wings. I always dodge toward it, like a moth to a brightness. This time I hesitate at the perimeter of people fanned out in a circle, braced and clenched, but stopped like a displaced statue. I am old now, I think to myself, and have not recovered from years' worth of other wounds. What business do I have incurring new ones? Jim sees my mind working. He whispers to me, "You have no part in that," meant to relieve me of responsibility. But it pains me to add this to so many things I have no part in anymore. The spontaneous violence of the bar was incidental to my duties there, but it may have become another wayward identity I accepted reluctantly and then wore like a badge. Like unlicensed, like unpartnered, like hustler, like immigrant, like poet, like queer, I was the woman who broke up the fights. The week before 40, I allowed myself to feel the thought that I don't know what I stayed alive for. All that suffering to have a body that lives infinite pain. My nervous system is not my own. My mind is not my own. My child no longer lives with me. And not knowing what to celebrate. The cancer took everything. I tell the new bartender that I barely know, it is my birthday. We take a shot and she smiles at me. Okay, now I have that. That's something nice, like a small flower in a jean pocket, somewhere to start, some special thing between two fingers when there is no roof or ground anywhere that I can see from here. Okay, so some of the emotional repercussions of families affected by genocide are autism, hypervigilance, depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. So this is kind of about that. My brother had autism. Hit his head against the wall, hit his head against the carpeted floor, left bruises. When he was a toddler, my parents gave him a warm, wet rag to bite down upon because that's what the doctor told them to do. My brother threw it on the floor. My sister tore her hair out in front of her adult disabled daughter and then told it to me over the phone. I don't know why I write this, other than to tell you that you are not alone and we are not alone, even though we feel that we are, with every cell of our hearts alone, with every thought in our brains alone, with every shallow breath alone. On this page, I don't think so. I hit my child's father once when she was an infant in my arms to tell him how much pain I was in. He was already pulling away, and no one else in my family could help me. I understand now that if someone can't hear how much pain you are in when you tell it to them in words, they just cannot hear it. I am sorry for my actions in that moment and for everything in the years after. These are the first poems I have written in my life while drunk. I don't know how else I would have gotten them out. I'm sorry. After the cancer scan, required every 6 months after, to tell you to what degree your life will return to disaster, the new boyfriend does not come, like he agreed last week. I am swimming through dissociation and city streets. I look at the river, I eat dinner, I am trying to remain. If I run into a friend outside a bar that I worked at 16 years ago and hold him, and breathe in his smoky leather coat because his mother just died and also his dog in the same week. What does this make me? That I do not tell him why the embrace means so much. Our family scattered at my daughter's birth like pool balls at break, then clung to each other's image at a slow, distant orbit. Instead of growing up on a small farm in Eastern Europe, surrounded by grandparents and many trees, she grows up with exactly one stressed out mother in a swamp in a home on stilts. The neighbors hide drugs under the house, and her mother is always afraid. She begins running away at 5 when she's upset, packs her doll in a Tupperware, and disappears around the block. She has autism. This behavior is called eloping. The faster I run after her, the farther she goes. When she is 10, I have long COVID and am recovering from sepsis. I stop running after her. I sit in the living room. I focus on my breath and pray very intensely until she reappears. At 13, her 2 parents are on the phone trying to locate one another on 2 separate staircases parallel to each other on opposite ends of the Orpheum Theater. What floor are you on? The top. I thought I was on the top, and I don't see you. No, we are on the very top, all the way up with the angels. The growling timpani and sawing strings hold our attention, but so does our daughter, 3 rows ahead of us, sitting with her friend Jolia. We devour the sight of the silhouette, of the serene Aninga she has become. Her freshly cut hair, the ballerina curve of her neck, held so still as she peers down over the edge of the balcony of the voluminous, well-lit wonders below. I put my arm around his shoulders. Then he puts an arm around me. This contact only lasts a few minutes until the end of the performance, when we will walk down the staircases to separate cars, to drive back to separate beds within separate houses. But it means something. It means I'm sorry I could not do for you what you needed me to. It means we understand now that our struggle was much larger than us. We simply broke under the pressure of greater forces, that in a way, we never stopped being friends. Thanks.
Up next is me, Sean F. Munro. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Got 3 poems for you, 2 shorties, 1 longer one. This is a lyric poem because I said so. I'm going to whisper to you because this
is what you think a lyric poem must sound like. I'm going to write about sadness because the world is sad, or I am, and now you must be sad too. I'll tell you, my father died of laughter. When my mother died, her favorite shirt the wrong color that she wears during dialysis. For just a moment, like someone singing Sinead on their porch while they listen to headphones. This isn't about you. This is about me. Yes, me. This poem is about what I know you need to feel. This is my fantasy, and you're crying. This poem is so good you're crying. I'm winning all the prizes, and you're still there crying. Little chirps of tears. God, I'm so good at this, writing lyric poems. Like a hypnotist, you'll forget me after a snap of fingers, but it's too late. I've won this game. I've imagined you devastatingly sad, and you can only recover from it with this line that, because I'm so nice, I'll give it to you. Here it is, listener. I'll whisper it. We're a hot mess. Get over it. Wait, that wasn't right. I meant, you're perfect, just like this poem. Yeah, that's the line. That was such a lyric poem.
This next poem I would like to dedicate to Jake Levine, standing over there, who read last night. This is an experimental poem because I said so. I'm going to yell at you now because this is what you think an experimental poem sounds like. I am going to write about ideological insanity because you don't understand what that means, and now you must be confused too. I'll tell you to tell antiquates the idea of telling, yet speaking inherently unthinkable signs pronates no miracles. This isn't unintelligible, you're just not listening loud enough. Wait a moment, just a moment. Like Diogenes waits until someone is looking before he starts masturbating in his barrel. This is about you. This poem is about what I need you to understand. My fantasy, this be, and comprehension equals political cohesion. Yeah? Don't cry. There's no crying in experimental poetry. I'm winning none of the prizes, and you're still there confused. Little farts in the brain. Ideology. I'm so good at this, writing experimental poems. Like a dialogist, you'll forget my conclusions once I've concluded, but it's not too late to make your own. I've tied this game. I've imagined you ontologically shocked, and you can only recover from it with this last line. That, because I'm so didactic. I'll give to you. Here it is, listener. I'll yell it. We're not confused, we're lazy! Wait, that wasn't confusing. I meant, yo! Certainly, that's the line. That was such an experimental poem. We got any kleptomaniacs out there?
Yeah.
Couple of them? All right. The rest of y'all are getting stolen from. You're doing the stealing, someone's stealing from you. This is Scenes from the Kleptocene. Plunge! The Dow dodges the Nasdaq needles, the short seller leaps onto its balcony to sip champagne as human pensions plunge. Post-plunge. We're hiring. No one wants to work. We're hiring. Minimum, max out. Plunge! Laborers laid off temporarily. Politicians played off just one more time. Corporations bailed out just one more time. One more cash infusion. Taxes slashed, temporarily slashed. Plunge! Stay home, work from home, eat from home, don't buy, don't go, don't stay, don't work, don't play, don't fly, don't buy, don't loot, don't burn, don't buy toilet paper. Stop buying fucking toilet paper. Okay, you can have a little toilet paper. Post-plunge.
Pfizer earned $1 billion this quarter. Dicks out for Johnson & Johnson's newest billionaire. Headline, billionaires find tax loophole and penetrate the market. Plunge! Non-payment of student loans has crashed the economy. Non-payment of mortgages has crashed the economy. Non-payment of auto loans has crashed the economy. Non-payment of Paycheck Protection Program loans has worked out okay. Mission accomplished. Post-plunge. Student loan interest will be added to your tab. Paycheck protection loans will be forgiven. Your vehicle will be repossessed. Take the bus, sweet plunge, halt. Plunge protection team activated. Plunge, halt. Stop gap, start cap, short cap, mid cap, large cap. Plunge, halt. Plunge protection team, turn off the circuit breakers. Plunge, halt. Circuit breaker berserkers, turn it off now, shut it down now, remove the buy button. Options, call, put it down on paper. The tank, halt. Surge averted. Plunge, moonshot. Post plunge, slingshot, plunge, crew de boo, market shockwaves, house of dominoes, cards, dice, and the plunger states of America. Soft coo, soft coo, soft coo. Plunge that spoon in a soup can. Post plunge, shelter loves money, money loves shelter. Tammy tongue dumpers, foreign bank account, tighter than the hamstrings of a pig holding a guitar. Plunge! Shabang, Harambe's dead. Dicks out for Guatemala, Clunge out para Gran Colombia. Off planet there is no north of the popcorn petrodollar. Post plunge. The overdraft, the underdraft, the microsecond $1 million craft. Algorithms tap dance in the trap house. Plunge! Flash, crash, smash, grab, blast, steal, crab, blast from the past. Legislate, too late. Red graph, melted candle, red candle, green candle, red candle, Dorito of doom. Market angles, math angle, derivatives. $632 trillion, yes, that's real. $632 trillion. Post plunge. Why are you staring at the debt ceiling? Why are you staring at the debt ceiling? Debt dealing money healers charge a fee, fi fo fum. I smell the cum of the central bank in our collective imagination. Regulate, it'll work this time, baby. Plunge! No more hot tamales, no more Nintendo, no more Taco Bell, no more Mormon hedge funds. What will we do? What will we do? What will we do? What will we do? Post plunge. Anyone caught selling derivatives will receive capital punishment. Anyone caught buying options, calls, or puts will receive capital punishment. Anyone caught laundering money offshore will receive capital punishment. Anyone caught making a market that doesn't deal in tangible assets will receive corporal punishment. Plunge! Cash caught, cash cat bag, out of, onto, hold bags, bag holder, crypto derivatives, digital real estate, Coinbase, FTX, Binance, oops, crypto's a scam, oops, crypto's banking, oops, don't, oops, correlate, too late, this big goddamn car is wrecked. Post plunge. Poetry festivals, rooftop roundtables, buying a beer for a friend, sharing a joint on 420, playing guitar, sitting in Cafe Istanbul, sweating lightly. Your friend sneezes, accidentally farts, and we laugh. Thank y'all so much for coming out today. Thank you all the poets who did exactly 10 minutes. That was a stellar thing. Y'all are all super professional. There's another panel, Dialogos books, coming up next. Check it out. Grab a drink at not that bar, but there is some free beers in the ice chest at the bottom of the stairs. There's free Coors Lights. Feel free to open it up. There's also some gummies in there if you want to eat those too. Thank y'all so much for coming out.